Hi everybody! So today we're going to talk about our new reading story, and it is titled A Tree is Growing, and it's on page 92 and 93 in your second reading book, your newest one. So again, the title of our story is A Tree is Growing, and it's written by Arthur Dorros. You can see right there's a picture of him, and it's illustrated by S.D. Schindler. So he drew the pictures, this guy right here. And if we come over here to our sidebar, we can read some of our important information. We have the title of our story, and then we have our target skill. And this week we're going to be talking about text and graphic features. Now this is something that we have talked about. If you can think way back to our story, What Do Illustrators Do? We talked a lot about this skill. So we're going to cover it again. And you may notice that this skill is especially important when we read books that are nonfiction, so like informational text. All right, our genre. Every week we have to talk about our genre. So what type of story are we reading this week? This week we are reading an informational text, and that gives you information about a topic. So that means everything that we're going to read this week is true. This is going to be a nonfiction story. So as we read, we're going to look for photographs and captions, because true life stories can have photographs from real life. Graphics such as diagrams that can help explain the topic, and text structure are the ways that the ideas and the information are organized. So we're going to see lots of headings that will tell us about what we're reading, and lots of details and sidebars and stuff. And our essential question is, what are some differences among types of trees? So before we read, I want to go over our vocabulary with you, just so you're familiar with it. So our first word is pollen, and anybody who has allergies is going to know about pollen. Pollen is a fine powder that's made by flowers, and it's used to make seeds. And bees carry pollen around. Sometimes in the spring, if you've ever looked out at your car and there's like a yellowy powder on it, that's pollen. And like I said, if you have allergies, pollen is not your friend. Our next word is store. So this doesn't mean store like a Walmart or a Martin's. Store means to put something away until you need it. So in the winter, you might store your summer clothes. You're not wearing shorts and tank tops, so you put them away until it's summer and you need them. Our next word is clumps. And clumps are small groups of things like plants or flowers that grow really closely together. I always think about moss. Moss kind of grows in clumps, and if you pick it up, it would kind of all be together. So that's clumps. Our next word is passages. And a passage is a long, thin tube or hole that air and liquid can flow through. So like if you think about a straw that you would drink out of, see, is a passage because liquid and air can flow through it. Or if you've ever picked a dandelion, the stem of a dandelion is like a passage. Our next word is absorb. And absorb means to soak up. So if you've ever spilled something on your counter and you grab a towel or a paper towel and you wipe it, the towel absorbs it. It means it soaks up the liquid. Our next word is throughout, and throughout means found all over an area. So students are found throughout our school. That means that everywhere you go, there's students. The next word is coverings, and coverings are outside layers that protect what's underneath. So if it's really cold and windy outside, the covering that you would put on is a jacket, and that protects your body underneath. Next is spines, and spines are long, sharp points on a plant or animal's body. So a lot of times that makes me think of a cactus. The little sharp, sticky points on cacti, they're called spines. The next word is tropical, and tropical means hot and wet weather found near the equator. So if we think about the Earth, okay, if this is the Earth, the equator is a line that goes right around the middle, kind of like a belt, and the equator is the hottest part of the Earth. So all of the land that is around the equator tends to be tropical. That means it's hot, it's wet. That's where we find our rainforests, and that's tropical. And our last word, number 10, is dissolve. And dissolve means to mix completely with a liquid. So if you've ever had like the powder Kool-Aid or lemonade and you put it in water and stir it, and then it looks like it disappears, it actually dissolves. So that means that it mixes completely with whatever liquid you mixed it with. All right, after this, you're gonna check out the slides below and make sure that you listen to our story read aloud on slide 2.